Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our new series where we're going to be doing some book reviews. So a lot of people always say that they want to get started on the path to the craft of the wise or the occult, or they're a seeker and they just want to find some answers. And they always kind of have a hard time, I think, figuring out who to trust as authors or what to read and what's important. And I'm going to start with reviewing books that are like the basic must-haves on different topics. And then as you move through the videos and maybe do the reading that goes with these books, you can go to a more advanced group of books, that are really serious, like, real esoteric, scholarly kind of books. But I think that, like anything, learning the language first, the vocabulary, and having an understanding of how things work is a good place to start. And then you can move on to more advanced understandings. And I think as you come to the occult, as you come to the craft of the wise, witchcraft, Wicca, you'll find that whatever it is you want to work with, whether it's herbs or tarot or palmistry, any kind of divination really, magical timing, full moon work, whatever it is that you want to do, there seems to be a foundation or an understanding underneath all of these occult things of astrology. The planets and the elements and the signs. And these things are really important. So I'm going to show you a few books that I really think you should have on your bookshelf if you want to understand astrology. So the first book I'm going to show you is the Astrologers Handbook by Lewis Acker. Now, shout out to Lewis. I think he's living in Colorado now. He did work for the shop in the late 90s. He was our astrologer. In fact, I always make sure that this book is part of the astrology course that I teach. And I tell people that when I had my natal chart done by Lewis, he was looking at it and he was doing transits for me. And I'll explain that in a bit. And he said to me, "Oh, look." And he showed me a spot and he said, "This planet is transiting this house and I think you're going to buy a computer." And I said, "I'm not buying a computer." And he said, "No, I think you will. I think you'll get it to help you be able to do your mailer and your bookkeeping and things. I really think you're going to get a computer." And I thought, good Lord, I have no idea about computers. But lo and behold, I got a computer. And if I hadn't gotten the computer, I would never have met Anton. So predictive astrology is a wonderful gift. But even if you're not looking at astrology to do that kind of work, to write horoscopes or to interpret natal charts, it's still a good idea to have an understanding of the energy that's coming through when a planet is in a certain sign. For instance, right now, Mars is in Gemini, and it's been retrograde, and then it's been moving forward, and Mars usually spends about 6 weeks, maybe 8 weeks in a sign, but it's spent like 2.5 months, and it's going to be even longer as it goes direct. So Mars is having an especially long time in Gemini, and in this book it talks about Mars in Gemini. Mars in the sign of Gemini indicates mental activity and aggressiveness. And I think we can see that a lot of that's kind of been going on. This position gives the love of debate and intellectual contests. I bet many of you have been having intellectual contests at this time. So this book basically goes through each of the signs, each of the planets, and then it goes through the planets in those signs. So this is a really helpful book if you want to learn astrology from the ground up. It even tells you how to mechanically or mathematically cast a natal chart, so you don't have to rely on a computer to do that. But it is a process. But anyway, I would always recommend the Astrologers Handbook. I keep them in stock. And again, whenever I teach my astrology class, everybody gets this as one of their textbooks. Now, there is a book out there called The Only Astrology Book You'll Ever Need. However, it's a lie because you still need one of these, an ephemeris. Basically, this is a charting of the planets. When we're born, our natal chart is like a Polaroid of us. But then the video keeps going. All the planets keep moving. So an ephemeris shows you where all the planets are on a certain day. So if you could look in here and you learn how to read glyphs, because you'll learn the language of astrology, and it will tell you today, January 14th, will tell you that Mars has gone direct, but it's only 8 degrees in Gemini, which means it has another 22 degrees to go. And it's going to tell us that Mercury will finally go direct on Wednesday the 18th. So we can see where the sun, the moon, and all of the planets are and what they're doing. And this will help us choose time for magic. Now, they make many different versions of the ephemeris. But this one is probably all you would need if you're looking at planets for transits. If you're looking at planets for natal charts, then you probably need one that's maybe 1950 or 1900 to start, depending on how old people are in your group of friends. Now, another book that I think you probably have to get on Amazon, it's probably out of print now, is called Sun Sign, Moon Signs. And our sun sign is a big part of our personality, and our moon sign is our emotional processor, or how we deal emotionally. So Sun Sign, Moon Signs is a fantastic book. It takes that combination and tells you, what makes that person tick. So you can learn a lot about yourself with this book, or you could certainly learn about people that you want to have a relationship with. And if you're really getting into astrology and you want to say, okay, Mars is in Gemini, and I'm a Gemini, which I'm not, I'm Aquarius, but you could say, okay, Mars is conjunct my sun. So you could look at this book, Planets in Transit, which is also a book I give as a textbook in my astrology class, because you can see how Mars is influencing all of the other planets in your blueprint, in your Polaroid. So this is basically the video information, where it is now compared to where it is when you were born. So every year we have a birthday, which means the sun returns to the same spot it was when we were born. It's called a solar return, and many times people wish someone happy birthday and they say, oh, many happy returns. Other planets return as well to where they were when we were born, and Saturn is the big one to look for. So this book, Planets in Transit, is really good if you're a budding astrologer, and also Planets in Aspect. So you could see what happens when you have trines or squares or conjunctions or oppositions in your natal chart. And it's also usable to some degree, no pun intended, for planets in transits. However, planets in transit will have sun conjunct sun, where this one, you only have one in your natal chart. So this aspects book is really more for reading natal charts, but it's a really good book. Then if you want to get a little deeper into the language, you could look at something like this, Arabic Parts by Robert Zoller. I'm lucky enough to have known Bob pretty well. This book is autographed before he was too ill to write. And he's just a wonderful person. I miss him very much. He's passed away. But in here you could look up something called your part of fortune, and it appears in your chart between your sun and moon, and it tells you a lot about the kind of energy that would be inspiring to you or guiding to you. Like my part of fortune is in Pisces, and that kind of gives me a creative edge or a musical edge, or that dreamer, believer, nothing is too far away. Then another really good astrology book that I would recommend is a Chinese astrology book. The Chinese horoscope, the Chinese astrology has been around for 5,000 years. It's a system that works, and we are about to move into the year of the water rabbit. And in this book, the Handbook of Chinese Horoscopes by Theodore Lau, which I'm sure is available on Amazon, because this book is not new, but it's written in 95. It's a really great one to have to kind of see what's happening for you for the year. It goes into great detail about each of the 12 Chinese zodiac signs. You can also look up your Chinese rising sign, and then you can see what the year of the rabbit is offering you as compared to what your sign is. So I'm just looking through here. I am a rabbit, so I'm very excited to see what's going to happen in the year of the rabbit. I know that rabbit is very calm and soothing. And here on page 102, it talks about the water rabbit. The cycle of the elements comes through once every 60 years, because we have, 12 years of wood rabbit, 12 years of earth rabbit, 12 years of fire rabbit. So we're coming back to water rabbit, and it says that water rabbit offers a meditative and fragile emotional nature. They don't like harassment or unpleasantness. They can't stand bickering. They can be easily influenced. They have a lot of empathic energy, and they pick up on thoughts and feelings of others. So I think this is a really good tool to have in your toolbox to understand more about the energy that's coming for the year that we're in. So again, a Chinese horoscope book, really good to know what's going on there. Arabic parts, if you're interested in the bigger cycle of things, or your part of fortune, which is a fun thing to know about. Planets in aspect, if you want to see what makes you tick, or someone else that you might be interested in, what makes them tick. Planets in transit, so you have some kind of idea of what's coming at you and how it's going to affect you. Sun sign, moon sign, a really more in-depth look at your personality and your emotional personality. An ephemeris, to see where the planets are now. And the most important one, the Astrologers Handbook. Sorry about that, kind of dropped the GoPro. The Astrologers Handbook, so that you can learn about the signs and the planets. And if you want to go further, you can learn about the houses. But again, astrology, a basic understanding of the elements, the signs, and the planets will be something that you can use for any other subject that we're going to talk about. Astrology is the backbone, the foundation, and it's hidden all kinds of places. In magical and medicinal herbalism, in the tarot, in palmistry, it's everywhere. So if you have a basic understanding of this language, it'll make it a lot easier for you to understand the other occult languages. All right, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this episode, And next up, we'll be talking about books that are essential to learn the tarot. Thank you, and blessed be.